Welcome, and what can I say? I mean, again, for those wondering, you can check back. I did a video before on this Blu-ray set, and I was going to talk about my general thoughts on the films, but it really didn't turn out to be because I only had the 15-minute limit, and really I got through the features and stuff. So I guess my overall view of the film will be through these reviews. But I talked about some stuff in that video, so feel free to check that out before seeing this. But just got done watching the very first film, the theatrical cut, because one thing I didn't mention is these films, maybe I did mention, these films in this set only has the theatrical versions, but the stuff that was in these, quote, director's cuts are in the additional scenes. But I'll hold this because that's the picture of the first film. Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon is great. Watching again, it's still an awesome flick. Still love this film very much. And who doesn't know the plot? Martin Riggs, Roger Murtaugh. Martin Riggs' woman was killed, and the other cops think he's on a psycho pension, pretend to be crazy to get paid, while in fact he really is crazy. He gets paired out with Murtaugh, who's a family man. They bond, have a lot of great chemistry, go after the bad guys whose deal is with drugs, including Mr. Joshua, played by Gary Busey. And you have one of the great teams of the 80s. Now, basically, I'm just going to go over why I love this film, because I have no problems with this film. I'll be honest, I have no problems with this film. I think Lethal Weapon is still a fucking classic. It was a Christmas movie, and think about an action movie, based around Christmas. This is before Die Hard. This is before a lot of films that, action films that take place around Christmas time. I don't know if it's the first. I can't think of ones before, and I'm sure there are ones before, but I thought that was a nice little touch. I thought Shane Black did a great job writing this flick. Shane Black, who I know is directing Iron Man 3 now. And, it starts out with the Jingle Bell Rock song and the girl with the titties hanging out, which is nice. Love the 80s, A woman commits suicide with titties hanging out, so love the 80s. I miss the 80s. And, I love these two characters. Now, Mel Gibson, granted, personally, well, but I still really enjoy his character Riggs. I just love the dynamic. One is a family man, played by Danny Glover. One, he's butt naked in his trailer with his dog. And he was in Vietnam. He was a sniper. And when you think about, when you watch this film, there's no mention about race. Which nowadays, if you have this, they would talk about race and, oh, but he's black and this and that. They never talk about race. They never have to go to that, that card of, oh, here's the black guy and the white guy. They never talk about race in this first movie. Never mentioned at all. Nothing about it, which is cool. It's refreshing. It's not about that. It's about these characters, and it's not about race. It's about, like Chris Rock said a nice thing about the film and the features. He says it's not about black and white. It's about father and son. And if you think about Danny Glover's character is more of a father figure, and Mel Gibson's character is more like his son, which I thought really was a good analogy that Chris Rock made. And yeah, you have a lot of capable actors. You have Tom Atkins is this guy who is friends with Danny Glover in Vietnam, who his daughter is the one who commits suicide at the beginning, and then you find out that, okay, she committed suicide, but she was given enough, I think, drain cleaner and such, like drugs and stuff, that she would have killed it. She would have been dead anyway if she didn't jump out the window. So now it's a homicide. But Tom Atkins plays the father. You have Gary Busey, Mr. Joshua, the bad guy. And these two really play off their characters well. I mean, Danny Glover, he's 50. His family, his wife, and his daughter, very hot daughter, and then his younger daughter and his boy. They say, hey, happy birthday, and hey, shave out, hey, your beard, you're getting gray, you're getting old. Well, Mel Gibson has this really wonderful sequence where his character, his wife has died, And this scene still works well. I mean, Mel Gibson did a great job acting in this, as did Danny Glover. And this really loved the music by Michael Kamen, and the little guitar stuff I think was done by Eric Clapton. Down, 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 down. But when Mel Gibson, he's watching like Bugs Bunny Christmas stuff, and I'm like, come on, Mel, the Bugs Bunny Christmas ain't that bad, but it's not about that. It's about he wants to kill himself because his woman's gone, love of his life is gone. And Mel Gibson sold it. I mean, the way the music did too, boom, boom. Like he has the gun and he puts it in his mouth and he's ready to do it and he can't and he hits it and it's like, maybe another day. And so many memorable moments. I mean, you have the first scene where Danny Glover sees Mel Gibson, and Danny's like, gun, gun! Mel Gibson flips him over and, hey, look at your new partner. And Danny's like, oh, I'm too old for this shit. Gary Busey makes a great bad guy. You have the scene where, he extends his arm and the General McAllister, I think the other bad guy's name, puts like a lighter underneath Gary Busey's arm. And you actually have Edo Ross, who would be the bad guy in Red Heat, among other films, The Hidden. He was in The Hidden. He's like, man, you're out there. You're on fucking Pluto, man. You're gone. Love Edo Ross. Because he sees this shit. It's like, okay, man, I'll do what you want. You have the sequence where Mel Gibson gets on this ledge because there's this jumper. And, Danny Glover's like, no, man, don't go. Not on the ledge. And Mel Gibson's like talking to him, but then tricks the guy and put in handcuffs. And then tries to get him off, but then Mel Gibson gets pissed and goes, do you really want to jump? Do ya? Well, that's fine with me. Come on, asshole. Come on, they jump. And there is a big fuck up, because you watch that scene when they first jump, you see that the handcuffs, they actually break apart very easily. Like, they jump, and you see the handcuffs go, cling! Then they try, because it's done in slow-mo, but then later, then they try to hold their hands together. But it's a really big fuck up. Like, I noticed it really plain as day, and I'm like, how the hell did that get through? You see the handcuffs go, doesn't even look like handcuffs. It looks like they just had, string or something. I don't know what the hell, but it was like a big fuck up. You watch the film again, you see the, but, I mean, still. It's just very noticeable now. But, it's still a very memorable scene. And Danny Glover gets pissed. It's like, over here, come here. And he, tries to slam the door, Danny Glover, and this go... A really excellent scene between these two guys. Like, you want to die? Yes or no? Do you want to die? And then Mel Gibson's like, how he's been thinking about killing himself. He's got the bullet. Do the damn job right. And you have this standoff where, Danny Glover's like, okay, fine. You want to kill yourself? Go ahead. Oh, yeah, maybe the chin, huh? And then even Danny Glover has to stop the gun and actually hurts his hand. He's like, you're not trying to draw psycho pension. You really are crazy. And then Mel Gibson, or Riggs, is like, I'm hungry. I'm going to get something to eat. These guys just really spark with chemistry. It really shows in this film. It really does. And, the next scene really shows these guys bonding. And, Danny Glover's getting pissed with, I'm 50 years old, 20 years on the force, and now my partner's got a fucking death wish. Fucking life is over. And then Riggs is trying to talk. He's like, what the fuck you talking to me, man? I'm a dead man. The fuck you looking at a dead man? And he's like, wait, watch the road. I thought it was really funny. And, you have the scene where they go and they see this guy, I think a pimp type of guy at a pool, and Danny Glover shoots him in the leg. But then the guy has a gun, and Mel Gibson saves him, and they fall into the pool, and the guy in the pool dies, just tangled up. And then Danny Glover says, have you ever met anyone that you haven't killed? Well, I haven't killed you yet. I really like the dialogue. Really well done dialogue. These two are as wonderful as these characters. I think that's the problem. One of my problems with Part 4 is that as stupid as it sounds, Riggs is kind of more interesting character being insane and crazy. Granted, I like the character, so it's nice that he found happiness, but in a way, that kind of made him less interesting, if that makes sense. I know it sounds stupid, but uh, you have moments of bonding, like when Danny Glover invites Riggs, Mel Gibson, to his place to eat, and you tell that the daughter has the hots for Mel, and then like Danny Glover's showing him his boat, and you can tell Danny Glover's character doesn't know anything about the boat, and he turns it on, and Danny Glover's like wondering what's going on, is like, "Is that what you're looking for, Captain?" Murtaugh's like, "You asshole!" So it really shows these guys are bonding, and you buy it hook, line, and sinker. And it's a very serious action film because uh, you have the scene that they try to see this girl, and the place blows up. Practical explosion. I miss this time where it's just practical, zero digital work. You don't always need digital work. I'm sorry. Yeah, the scene where they're at the firing range, and Danny Glover does his neck and boom hits one right dead center, but then Ridge puts it all the way down, finishes off with a smiley face. You have the scene where a helicopter kills Tom Atkins' character. You have a scene where one thing leads to another. Find out Danny Glover's daughter's been taken, and the bad guys think Ridge is dead, so they set up this place in the desert, and Danny Glover has his grenade, and Mel Gibson's sniping people off, but then they get captured and they get tortured. These terrorists get tortured. I mean, Mel Gibson, he's hung up, and Al Leone himself, the guy from Rapid Fire, he was one of the terrorists in Die Hard. He was Genghis Khan in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's shocking Mel Gibson with the uh, electric shock paddles as the water's cascading down, and Daniel was getting like salt in his wounds. And this is a serious, violent, R-rated film, but he actually has some good bits of humor too. And the action isn't humongous and big; it's scaled down, but it works because you really like the characters, you really like what's going on. And then Reeves gets in his badass mode, fucks up the guy, breaks his neck with his feet, and goes in poo poo poo. Gets Danny Glover. Danny Glover goes, "No way you live, no way." Boom! Right into motherfucker, right between the motherfucker's head. So that the car gets hit by this bus, and General McAllister can't get to the grenades, blows up the fucking car. And then Riz is chasing Gary Busey, gets away, but then finds him at Murtaugh's house. And Rid's like, "You want a shot at the title?" Which apparently in the features on this Blu-ray, you find out that Mel Gibson and Gary Busey had choreographed that fight more, but then on the day, apparently they forgot the choreography, so it's much more of it's less choreography and much more of struggling and wrestling and stuff, which I thought was funny, but it's still a really great fight between Mel Gibson and Gary Busey. Still a memorable fight, and love the idea that both Riggs and Murtaugh both pull their guns and shoot Gary Busey's character. I thought that was a nice way they did that with the music and the slow mo. And at the end, it really just shows these guys where Murtaugh's like, "If you think I'm eating the nastiest turkey by myself, you're crazy." Hey Raj, let me tell you something. I'm not crazy. I know. It really is a good characters, solid writing. You really like these individuals. You really like you really buy their chemistry. You buy what's going on. The action scenes is scaled down, but they still work. Still grounded. Still a serious story. Still an R-rated film. Still has a certain darkness to it. Has a darkness to it, which I think this is why this is my favorite of the four films. I really enjoyed part 3. I like part 2. Not the biggest fan of part 4, but my favorite is still the first one because of that darkness, and because it's the first one, so it's very fresh. Um, and also, I really like the song at the end by Honeymoon Suite. You're a lethal weapon, which I'll be honest, for the longest time, I never knew about that song. Like I saw these films when I was a kid, like Lethal Weapon, but I never knew the song because I'll be honest, we had the films taped, Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 and 3. So Lethal Weapon 1, the ending would cut off as the Christmas song ended. And I never heard the Honeymoon Suite song because Lethal Weapon 2 would start. So for years, it wasn't until I got this DVD that I'm like, the fuck is this song? Honeymoon Suite, Lethal Weapon? Holy shit, I like this song a lot. So it wasn't until I got this DVD. So all those years watching it on video, taped, I never knew of that song, but I really liked it. But either way, I love Lethal Weapon. I don't know what can say. It's a classic. I have no problems with it. These two, wonderful chemistry, and it's very funny, but also a solid action film. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you.